This is Sustainable Advancements in Conversation with Wioleta Burdzy Seth.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Sustainable Advancements, Dr. Nanmitra, my team Sana, Brindaa, Khushbu, and myself Aakriti extend a warm welcome to all our viewers and to our guest expert for today, Wioleta Burdzy Seth, to talk with us about Sustainable Development Goal number 12, which ensures sustainable consumption and production. We hope today's interview is a great source of learning for all our audiences. So without further ado, let me take a few minutes to introduce our guest expert for today. Wioleta has been a successful co-founder of the organization called the Human Circle and has been leading this for more than 7 years now. Her organization aims to enable young people to combine their passion with their career and purpose, thereby giving a meaningfulness to their lives. Besides this role, she is also an active member of the Youth for Sustainability Alliance India, where she is designing programs for sustainable living. Her prime focus is on SDG 12 and also to bring together like-minded youth-oriented organizations. She is a traveler and brings along with her a diverse multicultural work experience from countries like Poland, Greece, Belgium, UK, and now India. We welcome you, Wioleta, and we hope that today's interview is going to create a great impact on all our viewers and listeners. Now, I would like to hand over to my team, Sana and Brindaa, to begin with the interview.
Thank you, Aakriti. Ma'am, the first question for you is, out of the 17 SDGs, SDG 12 stands for ensuring sustainable consumption and production patterns. What exactly is hidden behind these terms? What is SDG 12 actually?
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you for this warm introduction. So SDG 12, as you mentioned, what is behind it? Actually, what is behind it is the message that the way we live today, it will not be possible in the future. The way we consume, the way we live our everyday life is just being too much for the planet to handle for the resources that we have. And therefore, we need to do something about it. It is estimated that with the growing population by 2050, we will have approximately 1.6 billion people. And that if we continue with the life as we live today, we will need 3 planets. But obviously, not all of us want to continue as it is. We want to enhance the way we live. And usually when we say that, we think about the Western countries, the way the people live up there. So some experts estimate that if we all would like to do that, then we will need 6 planets. And obviously we don't have it. So the SDG 12 talks about the areas and solutions for primarily our existence as a human beings on this planet, because we do not have any other planet. So it talks about natural resources, how we should find systems of management in a proper way so that we don't overuse it. It talks about food waste management, because it's not only on the consumer side that sometimes we don't finish our meal and it's wasted, but for the whole, starting from the production to the supply chain, before it reaches the supermarket, it's already almost 14% is going to waste. So how can we decrease that waste? And also waste generated by all of us. In India, only approximately 20% of the generated waste is being recycled. But I live in Delhi, and there are 3 huge mountains in the areas. And honestly, the first time when I noticed, when we were approaching, I thought we were going to the hills. I thought that we are already approaching Himalayas because they were so huge, and I was never aware. I never seen anything like that. So another thing, what it says, it gives some kind of guidance of what we should do with the chemical waste, because we use different detergents every day, but then a different kind of dangerous chemicals which our organizations or other companies are using. And all of that goes to the air, soil, water. So how can we handle that? So it talks about also how we as a consumer could educate ourselves, or how the organizations could help us to educate ourselves to know more about the things we do every day, about the products we buy every day. It talks about public procurement policy need, because it's not only what we buy, but also on our behalf, what our governments are buying in the public space. Another part is also about sustainable tourism, because that's when we go for the holidays, it doesn't mean that our consumption finish. Actually, it's starting there even more. It encouraged to come back to the conversation about the fossil fuel subsidies, because not all the time it's a sufficient way of helping developing countries and or developing economies, and it might bring even more damage than help in the long run. And something which is maybe not as per se under the UN SDG 12, but something that is more and more being talked about in a plenary, is that it's a population stabilization. It's a very controversial topic, especially in different regions. Different communities have their own ways of thinking about it and believing about it. But it's also a topic that we should definitely discuss, which comes under the SDG 12.
Thank you so much for telling us in depth of what is SDG 12. Actually, I'm sure the audience must be really thrilled to know about. There are so many aspects to SDG 12. So coming to the next question, my next question is, as mentioned in your intro, you are heading the Youth for Sustainability India Alliance. How is your organization contributing to SDG 12?
So Youth for Sustainability India Alliance, as was mentioned before, brings together on the same platform organizations which on the one hand are youth-focused, youth-led organizations, and on the other hand, organizations which are already working on SDG 12, also 13. The purpose of it, the idea behind it, was to help in achieving the SDGs goals 12 and 13 and its targets under it, with youth as the accelerator. Especially in India, what we can see is that there is a tremendous power of youth with a lot of ideas, a lot of energy, and we want to harness that power in order to create a sustainable future. So that's the platform for that.
Okay, so the following question is on the same line. So talking about youth and the younger generation, how well do you think is the youth in India aware or conscious about sustainable consumption and production?
It's the youth in India is the largest population, has the largest population of youth. So it's very, very difficult to generalize that. But however, I see a rapidly increasing numbers of young people who are working on SDG 12, and especially focusing on the sustainable consumption, also production. So for instance, Youth for Sustainability clubs, which are very closely working with the Alliance, they already have more than 400 very active volunteers who on the daily basis, they are doing a lot of different actions, starting from beach cleanup, stadiums cleanup just before the lockdowns, going to their schools and their campuses, demanding from the management and administration that we do not want to have a single-use plastic on our campuses. We do not want to have products which are not being sourced from the sustainable sources. Some of them are making eco games. Some of them are engaging with the tribal communities. It's amazing to see all of those actions. But also, I noticed in India a lot young people are getting into entrepreneurship, creating sustainable products and business as their career. So there are a lot of new young people into sustainable fashion, into sustainable, in a clean tech, in solutions related to food delivery, waste management, refurbishing products. It's all happening and buzzing. And also a lot of youth on their individual basis. When I go through the internet or to see some pages and or the people that I know and we work closely with, they make so many different ideas of how to redo things, recycle things, how they go to their own communities and they work with them in order to educate them, to tell them, to give them ideas as well. So it's really amazing. And I see those numbers are increasing day by day.
That's great to know. And I hope this interview also inspires someone or the other, all the youth, to bring more change in the movement. So great to know. Next question is, could you share a few examples or tips on how we can be actionable in our day-to-day lives for the SDGs or specifically for the goal 12?
Well, there are so many very, very small things that we can do in life to contribute. So maybe what it comes down to is to live our life more simpler, I would say, because we are rushing every day, especially as a young person. You have to, you have studies, you have to log, these days you have to log into your computer or you open your book. There is so much pressure, demands, and then once you are an employee, you have so many different things to do, handle your family, your work, your children, your everything. And we stop thinking about what we are actually doing in our life, what is the most important. So if we slow down a little bit in that part and just to see consciously how we are consuming, that would be the best thing to do. Because just to give you a couple of examples, when we look at the book, when you open your book to study, actually what you are looking at is a cloud. And we are forgetting to think about it. I think it was Rumi who said that, or maybe some other poet who put it in such a beautiful way, because that book is made out of paper. Paper is made out of tree. The trees they would not grow if there was no clouds who are putting the rain. So it's the whole ecosystem, the whole kind of a chain reaction in everything that we do. When you eat your plate, you have your food from your plate, you are actually looking at the farmer who put so much effort in order to produce the grains, the vegetables, but you are also looking into the eyes of the animals if someone is consuming animals or animal products. So there is so much that is happening with every single thing that we consume. A phone, how many different materials, even gold, is inside to be produced. So one thing that we could do, but it all comes down to actually, is to look at our behavior and our consumption with more clarity on not only what I have here right now and I consume and throw, but how it was made, the whole journey, how it was made, who had to bring it to you, and also what will happen once you stop using it. And then you might realize that next time, let's say someone is thirsty. It happens to all of us when we go outside, we can predict that we're going to be thirsty. And let's say we forgot to take our bottle with the water, because that's the simplest solution we could do. And then what do? Usually when you are thirsty, you are outside.
Buy something.
You buy some.
Juice.
What would you buy?
Juice or water.
Water.
Yeah, how do you buy water? Normally it's in a
Plastic
bottle. Yeah. So what you could actually do is you could buy something to drink, but it could be a coconut water from the street vendor, which I find super exotic still. Plus you have a small snack if you have a malai inside, but also if you forgot your bottle, let's say you don't have a malai vala next to you, it might sound a little bit silly, and someone told me that you can't actually do that, but if you go to a restaurant, you can ask for the water from the arrow, from the jug, so you can just have it and go. Someone might say that, it's a little bit strange. It's not an everyday solution, but if it's a completely like a crisis, it's doable. I don't think they will tell you, no, you can't, or no, you can't pay for it. I did it, it happened, it works. But so these are these little small things, or how we are thinking about it, because I was telling you about the book and what went into process of doing the book, but also what happens after it. So if you are, example, using a detergents or chemicals, Of course, there was a journey how it was made, but if you are after that draining, putting into the drain and it goes to the river, what happens then is it's in the water, it's in the soil, like microplastic is everywhere, and it comes back to us. So the microplastic was not only found in the humans are apparently consuming a amount of credit card per every 3 weeks of plastic, but it was also found in the placenta. So they're all coming back. So there are so many things. Once you start thinking about it, how the whole process was made, there are so many, as you said, actionable things to do. I have so many examples. You might stop me at some point because I might go and go. So for instance, is to look at how we can refuse things. When we go to the shop and they are giving us any kind of products, does it need to be that bottle? It doesn't have to be that plastic bottle. It can be a coconut, it can be a restaurant. Does it have to be in that wrapper and another wrapper? And then at the end, they are giving you a plastic bag to take it home. You could have had your own, but also discounts. If you are of need of one dress and the discount is, Mom, if you buy another dress, you will get one more free. But do I need the 3 dresses? So I don't really need, I recently, or for instance, just recently it happened to me when I asked for the water in the restaurant and they give a plastic bottle. And I said, no, I want just a normal arrow water. No, but Mom, it's for free. I said, well, it doesn't really matter because what I don't want is the plastic. That's what matters for me. So, or in cereals, you have all these toys, which are so just to say no to things which you not going to use, and because it's for free, because it's a marketing strategy, it doesn't mean that you need to actually having it. The other thing is to see what things you can reduce from your own house or from your home, or reuse in a different way. I don't buy mats, for instance, for the bathroom anymore because I use usually the towels. I don't buy products to clean, let's say, windows because I usually use the vinegar, which I'm using for some other things. So a lot of things you can reuse already having at home. Saris that some of your families wear. I stitch my own Western kind of dresses from the saris my mother-in-law gifted me because I don't wear saris, but I can do something else with it. So a lot of things we can simply reuse. We can repair things or redo a little bit. Again, coming back to clothes, we can just put a little bit, some decorative stuff here and there, and the look of the dress or the trousers completely changes, and it's still the same product. We are prolonging the life of that product. There are a lot of cosmetics that we can do on our own. One that might be familiar for you as well, because I've heard it from some friend here, is to wash your face with basin. Yeah, which is something that people don't want to do. They prefer to think about the this consumerism way of thinking when we go and we need to buy something from the shelf. But actually, at home you already have all those products. After I drink my coffee, and it's a coffee with grinds under, this is my peeling with a orange or any kind of fruits almost peel. You can make different kind of body wash, body kind of scrubs. So there is a lot of things there. The whole kitchen, when you think about how you eat, this is also one of the places that you can contribute very, very much. Not only from this not wasting the food on the plate, but also what comes to that plate. Do we really need to use so much meat-related products? Because before that, goat, cow, chicken, or whatever people are eating around the world. In India, of course, people don't eat cows as much, but people are eating everywhere other different animals. But what comes to their stomach for the animal for, let's say, a couple of years to be so big so that we can consume, that could be consumed by someone else. Simple things like thinking about electricity. We consume electricity almost everywhere these days. Even right now, to have this conversation, we do need electricity. But do we need to consume that much when we are just, on the phone, consuming, again, content? This is another thing that I might say that we could stop consuming, which is content which is not helping us in any way. And usually these are ads, these are marketing strategies which are there for us to think that what we have around us is not enough, that another dress, that another amazing cup of coffee with a whipped cream and a cookie on the side will make our day better, which actually is not true. Other than that, this would be like maybe one of the last tips that, especially for young people, is to get involved in volunteering, internships, and jobs which are related to sustainability and related to jobs in sustainable consumption and production. Because this market is booming very much, there will be more and more openings, and not everyone is thinking about it as a possibility. But if you, let's say, are working as a marketing person, would you rather try to sell a plastic toothbrush or a bamboo toothbrush? This is the choice that the people will have to make. If you're making an interview with someone, would you like it to be like a super celebrity? So maybe, probably yes, but someone who is talking about, I don't know, holidaying in amazing places and creating a lot of pollution? Or would you like to work and getting to know and interview people who are saying, okay, how we can make things better? These are the choices on a daily basis, which could club in your daily work as well.
Right. Thank you for answering and giving all such examples. I guess everyone here has been inspired and will follow that actions and what you have told us. Small changes eventually make a larger difference. So that's what the message was. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Just one more thing. Some areas which I really feel for, and I forgot to mention, is the festival and gifting. Just recently, we were having Raksha Bandhan, and I saw a lot of these bracelets. Well, what happened with those bracelets? It's a beautiful tradition. I think it's really beautiful. I'm just questioning what happens with those bracelets after this 5 minutes of taking pictures and being with the family. So can't we make the same bracelet with some sustainable flowers, jute bags, and things like that? But also the whole gifting ideas. Also, just yesterday, I think I had a conversation with someone that we love gifting other people, but is it also sustainable? Because it's again consuming, and not everyone would use the gift that we want to gift, right? So there is this whole culture of re-gifting right now, and I think this is something that should be acceptable by everyone, that as long as this gift will not find the user who loves this product, it can rotate. And also how we organize our festivals and our events. Why I really wanted to mention this is because Diwali is coming, especially here in North India, and every year I'm observing how just within 2 hours of celebrating Diwali, we just can't breathe anymore in the city. And when we talk to people, we ask them, what's the need for those crackers? And there's no Diwali, there is no crackers, there is no Diwali. But I don't know, 100, 200 years ago, people were not celebrating Diwali because there were no crackers. This beautiful symbol of Diya is also, this is the symbol of light. It doesn't have to be over there. So Ganesha just was celebrating recently, and there was a lot of initiative around making it in a more sustainable way, because then people, if they are throwing something of a worship importance to the river, that stays in the river. So all of those things we should really be more conscious about how we are using, even if it's like for so-called traditions.
Right. Thank you so much for answering all the questions so patiently. Now I would like to call upon my colleague Brindaa to ask for further questions.
Thank you, Sana. I really liked what you spoke about, us having to just think a little bit more of what we do every day and simple things that we can incorporate, making sustainability more a part of our lives. Having gathered work experience in India, we've seen that it is like easy to make small changes, but could you name a few challenges or obstacles which makes it per se difficult to be actionable on these SDGs or on the environment? And Also, have you faced them in other countries where you have lived or worked?
So first, when I came to India, and was very surprising for me, is that I couldn't find dustbins in Delhi on the street. I'm not sure till today why it was so. There were different ideas why people telling me why is it. But now I'm very much happy that now in Noida at least the Noida the how do you this word
Municipality?
Municipality just slipped out of my head.
No.
The Noida authority made it obligatory for everywhere to have segregated dustbins. So at least there are 2 dustbins right now where we can put organic waste and the solid one. In other countries, there are more dustbins, 5, 6, 7, it depends. In Belgium, for instance, there are whole systems of how to segregate waste. I think in India, this is starting. And one of the biggest reasons for that I see in the perception of waste by different levels of the society. In other countries, if we look at waste, that it's something that we want to get rid of, we forget that it could be a next product. So right now I see a lot of business opportunities in the sector of recycling plastic, creating tiles out of it, furnitures, different things. So I think this is one challenge. Of perceiving waste as something which is that is not my problem and someone else's problem. There was this meme that I see somewhere recently. It was actually in Polish, so in English it doesn't sound so well, but I would try to say it anyway. So a son, there is a son and a father, and they see someone swiping the floor, the street with all the garbage, and the son says to the other, "Dad, lad, look, this is a garbage man," which in Polish it sounds like someone who is dealing with the garbage. And the father says, "Oh, no, he's not a garbage man. He is someone who is helping us to manage the garbage. The garbage man is the person who throw all those things on the floor." So it's a different way of looking at what is waste. The other thing which I notice in India is that a lot of people say that sustainability is expensive. I don't know if you've heard that too. Yeah, I see your head. So, which I believe is such a myth, which comes from the mindset of consumerism, that I need to consume. Okay, I would consume, obviously the certifications might be there, but living sustainably, it doesn't mean to have new, very fashionable vegan shoes or recently designed by some fashionists, some clothes which are made out of, I don't know, pineapple or something like that. Sustainability means that sustainable consumption means that I'm using less, I use more, I'm being more aware of how I use it, and I use to the point where, for instance, if you have a sponge, you can cut it into half and have 2 sponges because you don't need the whole surface. So I find sustainability actually giving me more money into my household instead of spending it. Because I don't need a vegan amazing shoes. I just need my shoes to be worn for longer duration sometimes than to have all these fancy products. So that also I perceive as a challenge, especially. I think this is everywhere. This challenge is everywhere. Another challenge which I notice is that people don't care. There is always a section in our societies which say that until I see the black water coming from my tap, I'm not going to do anything. Where here, actually, we need everyone to do even as small things every single day to help into contributing to this SDG. So a big challenge, especially here in India, which I notice is population stability. India having population which contributes to 18% of global population, having resources which are globally, for instance, 4% of global water resources in India only. This is a big challenge of how to run the whole agriculture sector, how to supply the water to the amount of people which are living here. This is something that is going to be very, very difficult.
Yes. Yeah, that was a really very, very good take on the entire, like how we all have problems in different locations as well, but also as a whole, there are quite a few challenges that we need to tackle on an individual level as well. And following up on that, we kind of throughout this conversation have focused on one player, which is the consumers. Kind of shifting our perspective to the other player, that is the producers. How much responsibility do you believe that corporations, state-run corporations, institutions carry to promote and act for being able to achieve SDG 12, in your opinion?
So there are two aspects here, like two different players also in this area, which is a private sector and which is also a public sector. So a private sector needs a clear demand from the customer saying that we are demanding sustainable products, because if we go and buy things as they are, business in a way do not have a push on why should I sell you something else. Yeah. Therefore, a lot of campaigning, a lot of petitions, even drop in the market. So for instance, in some countries, like in Poland, there is a very big drop on consuming meat products. So the companies there are already thinking, producers there are already thinking, okay, what can we do? We are losing a lot of money here. So that is there is something which we as consumers can do, because if we buy products which we think are cheap, and which we think that we can afford them, and because they are in the shop, it means that okay, they are fine. Someone must have checked that. That price is actually taken from someone else who made that product, or from all of the labors which are being used, or from some health issues that may happen in the future. Like for instance, in Singapore, the haze that is caused by the fires for the palm oil cultivation. So this cost comes back to us. So yes, there should be a demand, and we as a consumer should really show what we care. But the other thing is the public sector, and here we really need a police advocacy for sourcing. For sustainable sourcing policies. So for instance, or guidelines. So for instance, if you imagine the Indian Railway, if they are using single-use plastic, there needs to be a kind of a guidelines on national policy, which will in a way guide of how to go about it so that this plastic is not being used.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was really interesting that both players need to do their part in order to sort of help achieve the sustainable development goals. Thank you for that. I would like to sort of conclude our sort of question session by just asking, what is your message to the audience, to our audience?
So the message would be that we are running out of time. We don't really have much time to debate of what to do, how to do. And in this case, especially for the SDG 12, even very, very little action matters. So this little straw that you refuse, this little bottle that you took from your home, all of this really have a big, big impact. And we can start in a very small way today with one single change that we might apply in our life. Or if we have more time, just like COVID at the beginning made us, and I use that time to really look at our life of how we are consuming and whether it's worth to consume that much, or that products which we are buying to impress someone else who doesn't really care if we are having it or not. So we do need to make changes, starting from ourselves, not waiting for the government or the private sector, public or private sector, we can start doing it on our own and involving our loved ones more and more into that. Because as a individuals, we can use the power of our wallet. Every time we give our money into something, it's like we are supporting it. If you are giving the money to, I will use again this plastic bottle because it's so well known and well recognized right now. If you are using your money to support the plastic bottles industry, this is what you support, right? But you can also stop doing that, and then they will have to think about different solutions for them to sustain their business. But also you can use the power of your vote. In the next elections, whether it's a state, government, or even in your own society where you live, vote and support people who are bringing clearly on the agenda solutions related to sustainability, to making the policies in a way that will not only bring the change immediate right now in the society, but also for the future generation, for the young people like you, because you're going to stay longer here than us.
Yes, that was really a very good note to end on. That we don't really have much time to sort of keep pondering upon this, and we should take action as soon as we can. Thank you for that, ma'am, and thank you for sort of being so patient with our questions and queries. I'd like to pass it over to Aakriti to conclude.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was really great questions, and yeah, very happy to be here.
Great, awesome. Thank you, everyone, and to my team, to Wioleta for being so insightful on these questions. And just to conclude a few things which we learned from today, I'd like to mention them. The first one is that as consumers, we don't just have the power to make ourselves aware of a particular product and then buy it, but also rather make ourselves aware of what is happening after using that product. So that is something which came up in the conversation today, and it's pretty insightful. The whole journey of the product is what we should also focus on, and not just on what is there on the supermarket shelf. The second message, which was very powerful, Wioleta, was from you: to live simply. This means less means more. And now is the time to enact and act and adapt that. So we hope that all of us try to, inculcate that and follow that in our day-to-day lives. The third thing which I'd like to mention, especially with respect to challenges, I think the perception of waste, who needs to do what, is decided by our society. The garbage man or the garbage woman, I think all of us could associate with it. And also the myth around affording sustainability, that it's not a luxury, rather it's something which saves some pennies in your pocket, if you really think about it in depth. And we need to care, and the way with which we have to follow ahead this path of sustainability is to think about also population stabilization, especially in emerging markets, or let's say in countries who have a huge population of consumption. So that was it for today. And I really hope that our viewers could, get a lot from this. And thanks once again. I hope that we continue to keep in touch, and stay tuned to our channel Sustainable Advancements for more information and content on SDG number 12. So I'll wrap it up here on this note. Thanks, everybody.